Okay. Um. Oh God. Okay. Do not try to move the window while the emulator's playing. It does not like that. The music will scream at me. Okay. But hey, able to load the intro now with this with my new 3080 graphics card. I can at least run the emulator's intro screen at 60 frames. Before I was when I tried doing it last summer, I was like, oh, I could maybe barely get like 6 frames, if even. Whew, that was rough. Let's see here. So we got Oni, got Random Stuff, who's one of the new members. Welcome, welcome. The sausage. Hey, I think I remember seeing your comment. I haven't responded to any comments yet on the my comment reaction video, but I have read some of them. I just got off work about an hour ago, so I kind of rushed over here. Had to rush to get the my emulator settings and stream settings set up because some on the new PC some of the stuff didn't transfer over perfectly from my old PC. So let's see here. We got Greg here too, Mastermind. I'm doing good, Greg. I guess I got off work. I actually got 4 hours of sleep. I was up editing that comment video a lot later than I should have last night. So I did not get much sleep. I think I went to bed around 1:30. Had to get up at 5:30. So yeah, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, it's I have a couple I have another video that's probably going to be releasing in about maybe, hopefully a week. It's my Majora's Mask arguments and counter arguments for it being a dream. But yeah, so I already have the script for that one finished. I have not finished recording. I still have to do the editing. That one is probably going to be maybe up to 20 minutes. So let's see. Okay, chat. Should I leave off of the beaten game file and we could just go exploring, or should I just start from the beginning? I'm not gonna go and start a full playthrough. I do want to redo Spirit Tracks in HD. That's something I really want to do, but I'll have to get better emulator, look up some better emulator settings. So I'm not gonna start a whole playthrough today. This is just for me to entertain myself while I'm going through these doing the Q&A. Let's see. Let's go. Oh yes, thanks. I really like this. This is my Zelda or my medieval fantasy themed uh stream pack. Okay, let's see. I think let's go ahead and go into the old file for now. I can always restart it and come back to the main menu and do a new one if we want to just go through the intro for fun. Um, honestly, actually, man, I can't. I'm so indecisive right now. I'm just tired. The old file. Okay, let's go to the old file. Yeah, I definitely I have a couple videos already prepared, and I'm trying to and I've talked with the Bread Pirate recently about doing another collaboration. I think I did one with him last January, so it's been almost a year and a half now since I've done a collab with him. So after I finish get this next video published, I told him we would get in contact and we would make another collaboration for that. I'm gonna have another Zelda Phobian coming out. And I started a remake of the Link's Love series, but to split up the Twilight Princess, Ocarina, Skyward Sword, the ones I did in all in one video, I'm gonna split all those up. At some point, I just wasn't feeling very motivated after a little bit to redo Link's Loves. Like that series isn't. So I had fun with it at first, but it was mainly because so many people it became so popular that I kept up with it. But I only started it as an experiment because that's how Mass Nintendo Band, not Mass Nintendo, Nintendo Black Crisis. That's how he grew. Breath of the Wild 2 is just a Spirit Tracks remake. Oh, should I do the final boss? We could go fight Malladus. I'm I'm gonna die so many times. I don't even remember how to I don't even remember how to use the microphone. I think I just um assigned it to the M key, I think. Anyways though, I'll go ahead and open it up for the Q&A if anyone was asking any questions. It looks like I have several regular viewers here, so some people I've already had on Twitch. But and I have no idea how long I'm going to be going for on this. This is just I was planning on going for maybe at least an hour but if there were enough people or people had enough questions, I would go for maybe 2 hours tops. It just really depends on how much you guys have to ask. I liked Burns' character development. So I think there's like a 5 second delay between what's going on here on my end versus the stream manager here on YouTube. Because I know YouTube has a higher latency than Twitch usually does. ASMR channel when? No, no, no Sorry, Oni, no ASMR channel. No Andy Smur. My regular content can count for that if it's enough. Oh, first question. First Legend of Zelda game that made me fall in love with the franchise. So I think in a previous Q&A, I have been asked I don't think I've been asked this exact question. I have been asked what my favorite Zelda game was. So what I always say is, technically, Spirit Tracks here was my first Zelda game, and I always enjoyed the game, but I wasn't very aware of Zelda as a whole. Growing up, like, I had Smash Bros. And obviously Smash and Melee, especially, they had lots of references to Ocarina of Time, so I heard a little bit about Ocarina of Time, but I never really had a Zelda game growing up until I bought myself one of my best friends as a kid was way into Zelda, so he had everything, and he was the youngest of three brothers, and he was my age, so I saw him playing Zelda games. So I got bought Skyward Sword, um, and I fell in love with, and that's when I fell in love with the Zelda franchise because I love the storytelling aspect of it, and I've always been like a lore guru, even if I'd never played a game, but just any kind of franchise that has a lot of lore to get reeled into that appealed to me. So like Skyward Sword is contributes so much to the lore of the franchise, and it has such a strong narrative, even though the gameplay is arguably weaker. I love Skyward Sword, so I think Skyward Sword is definitely gonna have to be my be the game I say that made me fall in love with it. And now I have so much nostalgia coming back here to Spirit Tracks because when I was replaying it last summer, there are so many things I don't think I ever 100% at the game. So when I was doing some of the side quests uh, before, I never realized some of these things and parts of the story I never understood before because I really become that big of like a major Zelda fan or didn't know much about didn't play almost the majority of the games until 2020. So I never played Ocarina, I never played Majora's Mask, I never beat Twilight Princess until January 2020. I had played Twilight Princess almost 2 times through before, but I quit both times. Because first time I was playing through it, I had a breakup I got towards the end, so it's like I just unconsciously stopped playing it. We'll become an engineer because I'm an engineer. But yeah, so I stopped playing for a while, and honestly, for a couple years until I became a freshman in college, I totally forgot about Zelda until my sister started playing it over Christmas break, and I was there, and I had some time between semesters, so I decided to get myself a Switch, because I saw Breath of the Wild was the newest game. I tried that. I'm like, oh my god, I need to play all the Zelda games again because I totally forgot. I forgot how great this franchise was. So that's when I got it. I got the collector's edition on GameCube, so I could play Ocarina, Majora's, and I bought most of the 2D games used on eBay. So I've played most of the almost all the games now. But yeah, Skyward Sword is what started it all for me. Took a break from it, and actually I think I attempted playing Wind Waker 3 times until before 2020. I couldn't. I'm still not that big of a fan of Wind Waker, but if I can ever get my hands on Wind Waker HD, hopefully that'll change my perspective. Because I heard they did have some quality of life improvements there. So that's my second favorite Zelda game, and my third and my favorite 3D Zelda game. Oh my, sorry, my favorite two. Sorry, I read that wrong. What is my favorite 2D Zelda game, and what is my favorite 3D Zelda game? Oh, that's a really good one actually. Like, I think I kind of addressed this, but because I have a lot of nostalgia, I'm gonna have to go with Spirit Tracks as my favorite 2D, if you count it as 2D. Because some of the perspectives, it's technically not 2D because it does have some 3D stuff on the DS like this with the cutscenes. But if you guys don't count that, ooh, I'd have to say Minish Cap. I really enjoy playing Minish Cap. So whether or not you count Spirit Tracks as the first one, but yeah, those are my answers for 2D. And then I have a lot of nostalgia with Skyward Sword because of all the lore, and it was my first 3D Zelda game. But I think looking nowadays, I think in terms of the gameplay and the story, Twilight Princess is probably my favorite. Oh, we got Kim here now. Nice. Welcome. Yeah, I know, Kim, you're one of the few people that agree with me with Skyward Sword being one of their faves. Am I interested in doing a Zelda 2 full playthrough? I really want to play Zelda 2 and get through it, but I'm so bad at it. I know it's so hard. I don't know if I'd be able to get through it, to be honest. So I can't promise I can do a full playthrough, but but I can make an attempt. I will at some point make an attempt, Tony. Don't worry. I think you said that's one of your favorite games is Zelda 2. It's been a while, but I remember that being one of your favorites. Oh yeah, Zeldom Nobility members. I made you guys I made y'all mods just in case. Because you people on my Twitch know I am very bad at moderating chat. Like if someone posts something really weird, I am very slow and have a hard time getting rid of it. YouTube is actually a lot easier to get rid of stuff than Twitch because Twitch you have to have the mod view enabled, but which it isn't turned on by default. Okay, next. Where was I in the chat? Okay, my first love. Okay, Greg says got first love for Legend of Zelda games was Link to the Past. Ooh, A Link to the Past was a lot of fun. I was expecting to have a really hard time with that, and it was kind of a hard game. It's an older one, but I did thoroughly enjoy, especially the dungeons of A Link to the Past. I think A Link to the Past was better than A Link Between Worlds. Not gonna lie, A Link Between Worlds had a better story, but I think I still think Link to the Past gameplay was a lot better. It was harder as well. Lord Minish Cap. Yeah, see, I'm I'm perfectly fine if Nintendo decided to get rid of like the Minish Cap and Oracle games since they were made by Capcom. I would understand it because they are a bit odd com compared to all the other games. Okay, I totally forgot how to fight this guy. Oh no. Okay, guys, I don't know what my hotkeys are. I'm gonna die because I totally forgot how to play this game. I can't do this. So yeah, I'm not gonna be able to multitask here. Ah, do I have to cut the strings? I don't know what to do here. Okay, yeah, I have to cut the strings. Spin, spin. Okay, guys, I'm gonna die. I have no idea how to play on this emulator anymore. Probably should have started a new file because I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, wait, hang on. I remember. I have to use the boomerang for this. Hang on. I don't even know what the button is to on my keyboard to There we go. Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna fall back on the chat because of the game. Spin! There we go. Keep moving, Zelda. Oh, God. Okay, I'm gonna die here. You know what? This is too distracting. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to go back to a. Let's go back to where was it? Save state? Oh, load state. There we go. There we go. Sorry, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I can't focus on that because I don't even know the control. I can't even remember the controls using the emulator anymore. The gameplay isn't the focus here. So let's see here. We got some spiders. Ugh. There we go. So, where should we go? Let's go to Hyrule Castle for now. Why not? So let's see. Okay, yeah, yeah, you're right, Kim. 99% of people are probably are terrible at Zelda 2. In fact, at my internship, actually, when when I was having when we were told to introduce ourselves to some of the supervisors, they're like, okay, just go through and just tell us your degree, when you're graduating, and one thing about yourself. And I had on my ID badge lanyard, I have a Majora's Mask pennant. And so one of them noticed that and asked me about it. So I'm like, oh yeah, I guess for my fun fact, I'll say like I have a Zelda themed YouTube channel, and they're all like, and they all, and because all of the supervisors were fellow nerds, they like started grilling me about the YouTube, and they're like, okay, what's your favorite Zelda game? It was really cool having like my bosses, uh, all be Zelda fans as well. But yeah, I told them like, oh, I told them my least favorite game was Wind Waker when they asked, and they said, "Oh, get this kid out of here. We're not hiring him anymore." But then I had to change it to Zelda 2 because it's hard, and I knew because since they're older, not gonna they were not gonna have beaten Zelda 2. Anyways, sorry, random story there, but hey, let's see. Okay, yeah, Skyward and Breath of the Wild. I understand that. I think Breath of the Wild, I'd put as my third. The gameplay is obviously really good, but with this, but taking nostalgia as a factor, I still put Skyward and Twilight above in terms of enjoyment. Okay, so right here, I have not been through. I have gotten to the final dungeon of the original Zelda. I don't think I've beaten it though. I remember getting to the final dungeon, but not beating it. Let's see. Skyward Sword is a great game. I just like the. I understand that. Uh, Because yeah, I do understand why some would say the gameplay of Skyward Sword's just not as enticing. I totally see why. They could have added a lot more into the game than they ended up putting in. So I think it's unfortunate because the game had so much more room for gameplay potential, but they just put most of their focus into story. So let's see here. Second question, Greg's second question. Other video other video game titles or franchises that I like. Well, when I was younger, I was mostly a Pokemon fan, but I never got anything after. I intentionally never bought anything after Black and White 2. Let's see. What other franchises? I'm really trying to think here because I only ever really had Nintendo consoles. I'm trying to think of other franchises that I played. Because overall, in terms of most of the platformer Marios, I never really was a fan of Mario. But like I said, I'm a huge fan of the Paper Mario series. That's one of my other favorite series is the I want to play the N64, but I've yeah, Thousand Year Door and Super Paper Mario by far some of my other top favorite games. Honestly, I really like the Overwatch lore. I know, like, in the game itself, the lore is completely irrelevant to the game. They kind of just make it up and make random like YouTube videos or animations about it, and that's about it. But actually do kind of enjoy the Overwatch lore, not gonna lie. Yes, XX. Sorry, I'm getting way behind here in the chat. Let's see. Oh no, I'm actually playing here, Kim. I'm actually playing. Minish Cat. So the Oracle games are actually some of the couple I haven't played yet. I have started Oracle of Seasons, but I think I was at it last spring, so spring 2021 is when I last turned it on, and I was at the first dungeon. So I can't really say I've played it. I've only like turned the game on, and that's about it. But I've heard they're really good. For me, it's the graphic style that gets to me. It's just hard for me to interpret what's going on with the art style for the game. Let's see here. Where was I? Oh, if they made remakes of the Oracle games like they did for Link's Awakening, I would totally buy it. Hopefully they wouldn't make it easier than they make the new versions more like easier. Because I really hate it when they do how modern games just tend to be a lot easier than the older ones. Because sure, like some of the older ones were a bit unfair, but the challenge is also what made them fun, if that makes any sense. Let's see here. Next. Who needs to be rich when you can flex with completing Zelda 2? Oni, Oni, Oni. Is Oni the only one here that has beaten Zelda 2? Or Greg, did you say you've beaten it too? Breath of the Wild is open world. Yeah, Breath of the Wild is one of a kind in the Zelda series, so. Who is my favorite Zelda? Oh, that's a great question. Who is my favorite Zelda villain besides Ganon? Ooh. Okay, so let's see. What games does Ganon appear? Ganon's obviously in most. Let's start off with the first one just to make it easier. But let's see. So Ganon, obviously, if I'm gonna count Ganondorf as Ganon, because Ganon's also in Ocarina of Time. But that one, then he's in A Link to the Past, then Link's Awakening. Well, actually, I think the Oracle series, then Link's Awakening. Yeah, so, yeah, Ganon's in most, especially in just about all of them with the Downfall timeline. I'd have to say Bellum is probably the coolest one from Phantom Hourglass. I think it's really cool how there's the concept of a villain just like sucking the life out of others to grow stronger. I just think that's a really cool concept for a villain. It always makes the threat even more real because you have to stop them before they steal too much power and become essentially undefeatable. Okay, yeah, this is how I use the mic. Okay, I'm not gonna do well at this because of the yeah, the controls in Spirit Tracks are a bit finicky just because you have to click on the screen. With the emulator, it's especially hard. Back up, rat! Ah, the rats are so annoying. Okay, hang on. I'll get to a question here. Yeah. Honestly, I don't think picking Spirit Tracks as the game was the best idea. It's easier to focus than Zelda 2. I'll give it that. Last year I did Zelda 2, and that was I had to have Ace read all of the stuff to me. But now that everything's dead, Does this Link not get a green tunic? He does. He does. All of the guards at Hyrule Castle in this game wear the green tunic, and so in order when Link is helping Zelda sneak out, Link puts on the guard's uniform, and that's how he initially gets it. But if you do enough stuff in the game, you can get changed back into your engineer's clothing, and I just like it because it looks unique. Oh, I totally forgot about this move. But yeah, so hang on, where was that question? So yeah, Miguel, Miranda, yeah. So this Link does get the green tunic, but you can change. Greg says yes, the Overwatch lore is so rich and diverse. Oh, Greg, Overwatch 2 is going to be releasing now in October, if I heard that correctly. So, it's they're now going to be implementing. They're kind of redoing all of the entire PvP mode, but as well as they're implementing a campaign or PvE, where you can go through and unlock like upgrades and stuff to the characters. So it now essentially does have a story mode coming soon. So I'm really excited for that. It was announced when I was a freshman in college, I think, and here I am going into my senior year, and it's just now coming out. Hey, they still beat Nintendo for Breath of the Wild too, so can't really complain. Junkenstein's revenge theme do be lit. So another question. What is my favorite incarnation of Link? Oh, definitely the Skyward Sword Link. He is by far my favorite. I relate on a heart. His inability to wake up. He just always looks like he wants to be sleeping. I relate. And the only reason he does stuff, he's like, okay, my best friend is gone, so like, okay, I guess I'll go do it. Well, okay, he's not the I guess type. He's goes and does it without a thought, which is why Hylia chooses him for that. But yeah, I definitely relate most to the uh, Skyward Sword Link because I think he's the second oldest one. We don't really know Breath of the Wild Link's age, but Hyrule Historia says he's 17 and a half years old, and I think Twilight Princess Link is supposed to be 18 or no more than 19. But I always interpreted Twilight Princess Link to be 18, and he would be my second favorite. Because yeah, I just never really liked Breath of the Wilds too much because he's just not expressive at all. At all. Even most of the other links were expressive. They never talked, but they were very expressive. So yeah, Skyward Sword, then Twilight. Next one, next one. Man, I keep losing my spot here in the chat. Okay, here. Yeah, Greg, Vatu's a pretty cool villain too. Sad Majora noises. Well, you know, I love Majora's Mask, but it's the concept of Majora is a little too weird, and you know I have my theories on that, so it's whether you count that or not. And most of in the Majora story isn't necessarily even about Majora. We, okay, I can't say that because we don't know. There's so many valid or not valid, but just theories out there that could be possible. Oh, we got Wolfius in here. What's up? Okay, so Kim has a question now. What's my favorite boss fight? First overall, then favorite final boss. Oh man, okay, okay. I need some time to think about that one. I have to go through all of the boss fights that there are. Um, oh god, wrong button, wrong button. So, wait, what did I just do? What did I just do? Guys, I broke it. Oh god. Guys, I pressed a hotkey and accidentally loaded a save state. What did I press? I pressed a number key by accident instead of a letter that I needed to press. Oops. This is why you look at your keyboard. Oh man, okay. This is why I don't like emulators, but Spirit Tracks, like, oops. Yep, sad gamer moment for sure. Now I have to fight the dang spiders again. I should probably just go run around in some town, like Hyrule Town or Hyrule Castle, or even just Abode Village. Let's just go to Abode Village, just so I can catch up with chat at least. So Skyward Sword favorite boss is most people's final boss, Galactos. I think the Demise one is pretty fun because it's always a competition. Like just you, it's always just a matter of how fast can you beat Demise. Because he's probably one of the shortest and easiest final bosses there is, which is kind of depressing, but whatever. Um, Minish Cap had a lot of interesting bosses, but I can't remember them all off the top of my head. There was the I think the giant Choo Choo was cool at first, but then there was the frozen Octorok, which was a challenge in Minish Cap. Oh, the Gorg Pair. Gorg Pair was also a really cool one. Gorg Pair is one of my favorite 2D bosses for sure. Oh man, there's so many bosses to pick from. Twilight Princess has a lot of good bosses. Let me think through Twilight Princess. Hmm. Um, does Ocarina have any of my favorites? Most of Ocarina's are pretty straightforward, not gonna lie. I don't know if Ocarina has any of my favorite bosses. Hmm. Man, Kim, this is a really tough question. The thing is, I'm terrible at picking favorites too, especially when there's a lot of options. I'll come in here for now, just to change into the green tunic. Man, that's a really difficult question, Kim. I'm actually gonna have to come back to the main overall boss. Final bosses though. Demise is probably my favorite to fight, even though he's the quickest. I think it feels the most intense to me. I love the using the motion controls and doing like the back and forth, like waiting for him to like just beat down on you, parry it with a shield, and then strike, and then calling lightning down and hitting him with lightning. Yeah, Demise. I think Demise is my favorite fight. I'm just gonna go back and forth between Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess now that I think of it for almost any kind of favorites, most likely. Because then it's Ganondorf. I love Ganondorf's spot. All four stages. There's the horseback with Zelda, and then the final duel at the end against Ganondorf. Oh, it's so good, so good. So yeah, sorry Kim, I'm gonna have to come back for the favorite overall boss because there's a lot of good ones to pick from. I can't pick a number one off the top of my head. Another question from Greg. How familiar am I with the Mega Man franchise? Not at all. All I know is I get annoyed playing against Mega Man in Smash Bros. Or Smash Ultimate. So they're porting the Mega Man. Yeah, no, I have no, I know absolutely nothing about Mega Man. Not to be honest. I know it's kind of an old franchise, but yeah, I can't. Really have nothing to comment on about it because I just don't know anything. I've heard about it, and that's as much as far as that goes. Um, Andy Sims. Wait, what? Okay, I have no idea what Kim's talking about, but I feel like that's goes for half of Kim's comments. Not gonna lie. So yeah, Breath of the Wild Link is 17 to 18. Does it say? Is there any kind of canonical source that says that, like creating a champion? Because I don't remember seeing that in the book. I know he's a young adult, like actual adult. Because the age of adulthood in the Zelda franchise is 17. So yeah, I think the youngest to say, because Skyward Sword Link, there would so the first Link in the timeline was 17, 17 and a half technically, but still 17. And like the oldest one we know of is Twilight, which is 18 or so. He Swords and so if this is some niche Nintendo game about swords and triangles. Man, swords and triangles are where it's at. Like, if you think about it, like Zelda's logo just being a just Triforce, three triangles, it's so simple, but hey, it was one of the earliest game franchises out there, so. But they've given it the crest of Hyrule, or crest of Hylia. So it's become more than just the triangles, I guess. We have the bird, the loft-wing crest around it. So out of all Link's companions, who is my favorite? Eslo, Midna, Tattle, Navi, Linebeck. Does Linebeck count? I guess Linebeck kind of counts, yeah. Um, Sela was more of the main companion there, but because Sela actually had voice lines, whereas here in Spirit Tracks, actually there's not even a fairy; it's just little glitter. I think in the original it's supposed to be a fairy that you follow around, but it's not in the story at all. Um, Now Sela was okay, but Sela was better than Navi, that's for sure. Tattle had a lot of sass, but I've honestly I was never that big a fan of the fairy companions. The King of Red Lions being the King of Hyrule, he could have been a lot more helpful than he was. Let's see. So Midna. Okay, if we have to pick okay, Linebeck is what I love Linebeck's character. He's just very entertaining, like the coward who pretends to be cool or brave. Uh, like I found a lot of humor from Linebeck's character. As okay, but honestly, to be honest, I think I'm gonna have to go with Eslo as my favorite one because he had people think Midna has sass. Nah, Eslo. Just admit, Eslo is just like having your super strict grandpa or grandma attached to your head, constantly nagging at you for doing the slightest thing wrong. And just like, Eslo had some really good lines, especially if you were to like die or like ask for help. He's like, "What? You forgot what you were trying to do already?" Oh man, I loved Eslo's lines in there. So yeah, out of those options, I'm definitely gonna have to pick Eslo just because Eslo made me laugh the most. Linebeck was good too. Midna was a really good companion in terms of like story. Midna is the best story companion, but just considering like who if I had to pick one, Eslo. So Kim says when she first fought Demise. Oh yeah, because when you first fight Demise, he's so intimidating. It's like fighting a black slash gray version of Hulk with a sword. He's just so intimidating looking. But then he just kind of stands there and points his sword at you, and then after like 5 seconds, then he'll go like, "Oh," and it's super easy to parry. So, but he does like 4 hearts of damage every time he hits you. I think it's 2 or 3 at first, but then once he summons the lightning, it's 4 hearts of damage every time he hits you, and plus the stun, which is it's so bad if you get hit. It always takes me a little bit of practice to fight him every time I haven't played in a while, but after you get into the rhythm, he's so easy to beat. So another question, what is my favorite temple from any Zelda game? Oh man, I can tell you what my least favorite is from it. Let's see, my favorite. Favorite dungeon or temple from any game? 'Cause the thing is, I've really enjoyed some of the 2D ones. They had a lot of really cool puzzles in them. I just don't know the names for them off the top of my head, and it's been a while. Most of the lots of the 2D ones I've only played one time through all the way, so it's really difficult for me to recall all of those off the top of my head. But here from Spirit Tracks, definitely towards the top of the list would be the Tower of Spirits, especially the final level of the Tower of Spirits. It definitely has some of the best multi-level puzzles. Let's see. Um, Sandship is pretty good, I think, in Skyward Sword. Twilight. Ooh, the Palace of Twilight was pretty interesting. The City in the Sky was super tedious, though. I always have a hard time with that one, and the Twilight Princess Water Temple. Man, what would be my favorite dungeon? Man, you guys and your favorites, man. Yeah, favorites are hard, really hard for me to pick something out. Let's see. I'm just trying to go through all the dungeons I could remember in my. Because like I said, I think I've only been through Minish Cap all the way once. Like most, that's how it is for most of the 2Ds. Because I remember loving a lot of the 2D dungeons. I just can't name them. And I only have very specifics. Oh, Minish Cap, there was the fire one. The fire one was really cool, riding through the minecarts and such. Like Minish Cap had really cool mechanics for a 2D Zelda game. But yeah, just to pick one that I actually know of or know the name of, it's would be the Tower of Spirits, the final Tower of Spirits level, from Spirit Tracks here. Let's go to the Tower of Spirits. Why not? So let's see here. Um, I'm gonna go with pick the for the dungeon. Yeah, Temple of. Ooh, the Temple of Time from Twilight Princess was a lot of fun. But why did the boss have to be why did the boss have to be a giant spider? Come on, that's not cool. So let's go to the Tower of Spirits because I like the music there. I honestly, I'm still as much reading as I've done on Zelda lore and all the theories I've made. I still am not sure how to explain the Temple of Time in Twilight Princess because it can't be the same one from Ocarina of Time. It just doesn't make any sense for it to be the same temple. But oh, it's still alive. Okay, there we go. So what's next here? Wolf's gotta go. See ya, Wolf. Playing here, Thomas is engaging out across. Okay, maybe a word question. Any interest to play Four Swords Adventures online with people? I would love to play Four Swords Adventures. I actually have my copy. Let me see if I can reach around my green screen here. Hopefully I don't ruin the lighting effects here. Oh god. Let me reach around. Ah, get it. So I have all of my GameCube cases right here. Actually, believe it or not, right behind the green screen. So I don't have a case for Ford Swords Adventures. I think I have it. Oh no, where's my disc? I think I have it in one of the little plastic cases. I put it somewhere, or did I put it in here with the collector's edition? No, I did buy a case for it. I left it in Texas. Dang it. That's like one of the few games I left in Texas because I haven't played it. I don't because you can play single player, but who wants to play single player on Four Swords Adventures? You need to have four people plus four Game Boy Advances plus the four connectors. So it's a lot. I have not looked into the Four Swords Adventures online, but yes, I would definitely love to play it with some people. Um, I know David, the host of another Zelda podcast, has been wanting to do a review episode for Four Swords Adventures, and for those types of episodes, they always everyone they have on the show they have play through the game. So so I might find some I could maybe like I've been also wanting to do a collaboration with like been talk we've been talking about doing a collaboration for like almost 2 years now. And so what we could do is maybe see if we could do a Four Swords Adventures review session. I would want to stream it though, or do like record it. But yes, I would. Only I'm very much interested in get it playing through Four Swords Adventures. The story or in lore of it is kind of weird, but hey, I'm okay with that. Oh, random stuff. I see you've learned how to do the use your membership emotes. Do I have any interest in playing any Hyrule Warriors games? I have played through Age of Calamity all the way twice, but I have not played the first or the original Hyrule Warriors. Like honestly, like I'm not that big of I don't like the hack and slash games all that much, but I did enjoy the story of Age of Calamity, and that soundtrack was banger, so worth it. But yes, I have played Age of Calamity. I don't think I'm ever gonna play through the like no the story of the first Hyrule Warriors is not good at all. I have watched all the cutscenes. I don't think I'm ever gonna play the original one, but Age of Calamity was alright. Um, Greg, there's another question. One thing I would like to see in Breath of the Wild 2, and one thing I'd like to be taken out from Breath of the Wild 1. Whew. It's been so long since I played Breath of the Wild. What is one thing I would like taken out of Breath of the Wild? I know lots of things I would like in there, but what's one thing I would like taken out? I know everybody says this, but the durability mechanic, instead of having I think the durability mechanic could have been improved a lot. I think it you should be able to reforge your weapons into new blades, I think. Or like there should have been like a more sophisticated type of like enchantment or upgrades system. Bum, 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 bum. Sorry, sorry. I always have to hum along with the Spirit Tracks music. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, I would definitely get rid of the durability or weapon breaking system and just replace it with the ability to reforge weapons. Because I know we all have our complaints about that, and that would definitely be my biggest one is not being able to reforge. Wait, why can't I hit him in the back? Okay, there we go. I don't have to hit him in the back. Just click. Okay. And what would I like to see in Breath of the Wild 2? Obviously, what I just said there about the weapon, what reforging the weapons. But Breath of the Wild 2, I just need a wider variety of enemies and maybe combat mechanics, because I think there was a lack of good combat mechanics, and just a wider variety of enemies and bosses. Because everything was, oh, it's some kind of Talus or it's some kind of, um, not Moblin, but what's some of the big ones? Why am I drawing a blank? What are the big ones called? What are the really fat bokoblins? Not the moblins. They're why don't I know the name of these anymore? I have not played Breath of the Wild in way too long. No, not a Lionel. I know what the Lionels are. They're the just the big fat like one-eyed bokoblins essentially. Hinox. Thank you. Yes. Like that's one of the most common ones. You see Hinox everywhere, Lionels everywhere. So especially once you get towards the end of the game, it's always just Guardians and Lionels that you have to fight, or like the bosses, and there's just not enough variety, for my taste. because Zelda has so many different kinds of enemies in the franchise. I don't know why they wouldn't add more in. I I always complain about it, but like Skulltulas, they're they're a pretty classic Zelda enemy, I think. I feel like they'd be really great in some of in like the Lost Woods area, or even the the Typhlo ruins. I feel like having Skulltulas there would have just made it so much creepier. Yeah, that's definitely something I really wanted in Breath of the Wild too. More combat mechanics and more enemies. Okay, next one on the list is how familiar am I with OC? What do you mean by OC? Like for me, when I see OC, that means overclocking, like overclocking a computer. But you'll have to be more specific, because I honestly don't know what you're talking about when you say OC. Let me get to a safe area because there's all these phantoms walking around here. Um, out of all the out of all the incarnations of Link, who do I think had the toughest turn? Ocarina of Time, by far, Ocarina of Time. I mean, that's why I made the Tragedy of Time video to begin with. It's like he was one of the he was definitely the youngest Link, even if you consider him like becoming a 10-year-old, being a 10-year-old, then going into the 17-year-old body. And man, he had to leave everything behind, and he didn't have any kind of choice. Lots of the other Links, like Skyward Sword Link, he technically had a choice. His best friend was taken, but I mean, she's the goddess. Hylia would have been fine. She would have just had to pick someone else. Uh, uh, yeah. So Breath of the Wild Link, he didn't have to do all of it. Obviously, there is that pressure of him being chosen by the sword, but I think Ocarina of Time, like he was the youngest one, and his life was just terrible. I mean, he was orphaned as a kid. He was kind of was a misfit growing up, and then at the age of 10, he was like, oh, his only father figure dies, and he had to leave everything behind with no way of going back to his old life. Like that, like, I don't even know why he even would even care to save Hyrule at that point. Just because Great Deku Tree told him to, because he had nothing. So yeah, yeah, definitely Ocarina of Time like definitely had it the hardest. Let's see here. Another question. Do you think Navi dies at the end of Ocarina of Time? Um, so I'm not gonna give a definitive yes or no because I don't know. I think I have heard the theory, and I do think it's a very good theory. I don't know if I necessarily buy into the fact that Navi died, but I think it is a very valid point of view. Like I don't shun the theory or anything. I have a lot of respect for it. I have a hard time like fully hopping on board with it. I know lots of people have a hard time agreeing with some of my theories. That's perfectly fine, but I really do respect the theory. I don't necessarily think she died. I think there might be some other kind of explanation, but what it is, I don't know. But I do love how there is an attempt to try to answer that question on why Navi left. I do think it makes a lot of sense. Uh, but I'm just not quite on board with it. If I could have three Legend of Zelda games to go through a Breath of the Wild engine remake, which ones would I pick? Ooh, ooh. Well, first one, Spirit Tracks. Obviously, like Spirit Tracks. Man, I would love an open world Spirit Tracks. It would kind of take away the whole point of the train travel mechanic, but if everything was so far away, I don't know. I don't think the concept of Spirit Tracks would necessarily work, but I would love to see New Hyrule, open world. Um, Skyward Sword, Mainly because Skyward Sword's world is so small, it left a lot to be desired in terms of exploration. I would definitely have to say Skyward Swords. Plus, it's like the earliest we've ever seen Hyrule at that point in time. And what's one more pick? Probably gonna go with with a 2D. Ooh, I would have to go with either A Link to the Past or A Link Between Worlds, with the whole concept of traveling between Hyrule and the Dark World, because it has a pretty nice overworld, and with all there's a lot of dungeons, a lot of cool magical stuff going on in there. I think the time period of Link Between Worlds, Link to the Past. I know they're technically at different points in the timeline, but I mean let's be honest, the Downfall timeline doesn't make much sense on how it came to exist, anyways. Actually, Bandit Games or Master Nintendo Bandit, whichever one you still want to call him, has a really good theory on how to explain how the Downfall came into be. That's why he called it the Abandoned Timeline. But I'm not going to explain that full theory. Go watch his video. But I think he does a really good job there, coming up with that. Let's see. Next one. Do you think they should bring back musical instruments to the series? What if so? What musical instrument might make sense for Breath of the Wild 2? Um, no. I think they fit in the past games, but I'm perfectly fine with there not being with there not being the like a magic instrument that you can use for like absolutely everything. I feel like it'd be really difficult to bring that into Breath of the Wild's concept. I mean, for all I know, it's gonna be there, and I'm gonna be looking really silly right now, in another year or so. But hello there, General Kenobi. Let's see. Oh, okay, okay. So Greg saying when you see OC, original character, is that what that meant? Let me go back to also how familiar am I with OC? Okay, that one makes sense in the question if I meant original character. Uh, how familiar am I with Olar's Koyaks? I don't even know what that word says. So not familiar at all. Sorry. Yeah, I'm probably like the most uncultured YouTuber there is out here. Because like most gaming YouTubers, they know so much more than me in terms of like other games. Oh god, Zelda, out of the way, girl. Why are they still coming? Okay, let's see. Awkward how long is a poster child for PTSD? We've had to. No, I would have loved having Land in a game. Land is my favorite. I love Groose is also one of my favorite characters in the franchise. His character development is so good, and he always made me laugh playing through Skyward Sword. Let's see. Next one. What if there was an open world game in New Hyrule, but you could hitchhike on the trains to travel long distances? I would. Okay, Kim, that's actually a really good idea, because yeah, Zelda's really bad. I think being able to travel to like 120 different shrines plus the divine beasts just with the press of a button. I'm not a fan of that. It takes away a lot of the like. I almost find myself rarely ever using the horses because of that. So yeah, I would love to just get rid of the warp mechanic entirely, Breath of the Wild 2. Except to like maybe if there's like another world to go between the sky, then of course we would need that. But I'd say yeah, just if there was new Hyrule, keep Uh, just hitchhike on trains to fast travel. Don't need a horse. The train goes way faster than a horse, so like no need for fast travel. It makes you explore. I know some people won't like that, especially the speedrunners, but I would love it. It would just be for the experience. Okay, clarinet of courage. Oh God, how long is my stream? I can't even. Actually, just realized I don't even have a timer on my stream right now. Okay, I mean, looking at the clock, I guess I've been going for an hour. But Streamlabs is not telling me does not give me any feedback. I guess it's because it's not connected to Twitch this time. Okay, here's the timer. I am not used to streaming on YouTube. Anyways, so sixth question, or Greg's sixth question, what is my first, what is the first popular video on my channel and what was it about? So I guess popular is a very relative term because back, so I started my first video May 2020 with my friend who helped me start the channel initially. Because if you watch the second video on my channel, like it's made by my friend John, or one of my many friend Johns. So we started that May because we were both bored from COVID, temporarily out of work. So we're like, okay, we both know a lot about Zelda and we love the series, so let's do some YouTube, see if we can get anywhere with it. And so it wasn't that October I posted my Majora's Mask Dream Theory, and that one made me go from like 20 something subscribers to maybe 40 or so. So for me, posting one video and like doubling my subscriber count from 20 to 40, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. It's like a couple more videos, I'll hit 100 subscribers. Then couple weeks later, I think maybe no, it was just 10 days later, I made the Who is Majora and the Fierce Deity video. And that one is what in that video made my channel go from 40 subscribers to over 3,000 in less than 2 weeks. So so if I need to be asked like what was my first popular video, it was definitely the Who is Majora and the Fierce Deity. Cause I went from being like nobody to all of a sudden be making a ton of money. Hey Kim, thank you for renewing your membership. Sweet, thanks Kim. So anyways, yeah. So does that your answer? That answer your question, Greg? The Majora Fierce DD? Honestly, I don't even remember what that video was about necessarily. Oh, it was just this. I can't remember. It was me just doing this completely bizarre speculation. Oh, who's the Skull Kid? Was Majora was the legend from the Four Giants actually the Skull Kid or was it Majora? So I did make some mistakes in my arguments in that video, in which I've gotten called out. I still get called out on that to this day. But hey, that video is my second most watched video, I think, of all time. So yeah, that was a good. That's probably my most successful one because it's what started my channel. And then after that one got popular, the I had the first Link's Loves where I did Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, and Twilight Princess all in one. And that was like one of I think my third video I ever recorded. And I had a terrible mic back then and everything, but after the Majora's Mask one came out, then that Link's Loves became super popular, which is why then I made the Breath of the Wild one, which I knew would be even more popular, and hence that video almost has 1 million views now. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Greg. I feel like I keep on going into all these stories that aren't really solicited for, but hey, it's a Q&A. I do what I want. Let's see here. Link from Ocarina of Time versus Link from Breath of the Wild. Who do you think would win in an all-out battle? Ooh, that's a really difficult question because it's really hard to compare. because Breath of the Wild came out almost 20 years after Ocarina of Time did, and obviously like the graphics and like the storyline had developed a lot. Link from Breath of the Wild has shown a lot more, uh, for lack of a better word, badassery. So, um, I think it might be fair to say that Link from Ocarina of Time had more natural skill, um, just because he was able to do his hero stuff without any kind of form or training. Whereas Link from Breath of the Wild, he trained almost constantly. But we do see that Link do a lot more cool stuff. So if they were to do have a fight, I think maybe Breath of the Wild would win from all of his training. But it's really hard to say. But yeah, Breath of the Wild Link is a total beast. So I'll just have to go with that. Okay, and then wait, John got friend zoned. Wait, who? Oh, John from our new nobility group? No, John. Oh, John's been friend zoned a lot in that group chat actually. During the time he's been in that group chat, so hopefully I'm getting that context right. So I see Kim's joined again. Oh, hello, I came online and saw one of my favorite YouTubers is live. Aw, thanks. Dude, dude, it still makes me so happy when someone calls me one of their favorite YouTubers. Like, I never would have expected that to happen. Okay, I almost forgot that the emulator shaders is weird here, and we can see better when it's dark than in the actual light. No worries, Kim, no worries. All of you guys, like especially all the nobility members, you guys were in there with me for like the 6+ months I wasn't posting anything. So I owe you guys a lot of benefits for the time you guys were members and I wasn't doing anything. So let's see. Kim wanted her rupee back. Yes. Uh, is anyone close to the purple rupee? No, this is my second. Because I think purple rupee is 2 years. So no, this is my 2 year anniversary. So yeah, most of you guys are just now hitting your orange rupee. I think. I think no, John and Oni. I think no, John was my first member ever. I think Oni was the first one to become nobility. Yeah, I think Oni was the third member to join. Then was the first one for nobility. Then the rest of y'all upgraded. So, yeah, it's hard to keep track of the history of all that. But so I know John is maybe 7 months away from having his 2 year or his gold rupee. So not purple rupee. Purple is the 6 months. Is there a purple rupee? I don't think there's a purple. I I'm running on 4 hours of sleep, everyone. So please don't judge. It's the gold rupee. Gold rupee is the 2 year one. And I think John's 7 months away from that. So another question, would you be interested in a video collab? Yeah, if we can find like a topic that like fits both of our channels, I am totally open to do collaborations with people. Obviously, we would it needs to be in a way that we can I can make sure it is still has fits my kind of style and has my type of content. Because obviously, I'm not just gonna. I have had some other smaller Zelda tubers who asked me for collaborations, and I checked out their channels because I'm totally open to do collaborations with small channels. I've done that before, but uh, I've checked out their content and I was just like, it's like so like the format of their content is just too a little too different from mine. So I felt bad about having to turn them down. But Greg, I think I have seen some of your video essays, and I know you're a terrific writer, and I could actually learn a lot from you. So, uh, if you want to DM me about this, I'd be glad to talk about this with you in private. If you have any specific ideas, let me know too, because I already have two collaborations coming up, and I know with the Bread Pirate, we're still trying to figure out a topic ourselves because still getting back into YouTube, so it's a matter of getting the topics. But yeah, I'm totally open to that idea. Now let's see. You think the Zonai will be in Breath of the Wild 2? Why and why not, or why not? Um, well, I think that what we know of the Zonai will have more of an appearance in Breath of the Wild 2. Where am I supposed to be going for this? I think it was down here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's over here. But yeah, so because we really don't know all that much about the Zonai. Masters Nintendo Black Crisis once again has done like I think two documentary style videos on the Zonai, one of which was what we know, which really isn't that much, but he stretched out the content a lot. Um, and there's a lot of good theories, but there's still a lot to be revealed for the Zonai, which I don't know if we're gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo never elaborates on it again. That's a very Nintendo-esque thing to do. But from what I do think that what we've seen does have some kind of ties to the Zonai. So even if we don't like learn a whole lot more about like who the Zonai were, or they don't play too big of a role in the story, and it's just like, oh, here's some of this magic or tech stuff, and they just implement it into random items, then yeah, I think it would be fine. Because honestly, I would be very surprised if the Zonai have as big of a role in Breath of the Wild 2 as the Sheikah did in the original Breath of the Wild. So that's just me. Maybe I'm being too much of a pessimist, but yeah, I don't think we're gonna get as much as we'd hope. Kim, man, I think it feels like everyone's stuck in a friend zone. I'm stuck in a friend zone. I'm always stuck in a friend zone. Link just became dark. Have you ever played Chrono Trigger? Um, Uh, First of all, to answer your question, no. But I'm trying to think if I've heard of Chrono Trigger because the name sounds familiar, but at the same time, I may just be tripping and be thinking of something else entirely. So let's attack that phantom, and we'll attack these phantoms. Oh god, Zelda, you had one job, and it was to distract the phantom. So the Wrecker Phantom can't, Wrecker Zelda can't get through the door here. Okay, if I were to make a live action Zelda movie, which actor would I pick to play as? Oh man, that's a really tough question, honestly. Honestly, I don't know enough like actors that are that young to play. Well, I guess Tom Holland does pull off characters, but Tom Holland doesn't really seem like a Tom Holland is not Link. I've got to throw it. We all love Tom Holland, but he's not Link. I don't know if I know any actors that look young enough to play Link, because the oldest Link we know of is like 17 or 18, and I would be very bothered if we had a Link that appeared like in his 20s or something that late. I think okay, maybe we could have him look like he's in his like low 20s. Make him look like he's like fully grown. If he's like Skyward Sword, Ocarina of Time Link, or Adult Link from Ocarina of Time, or Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild Link. As long as he still looks like he's fair, pretty young, fully grown but still very young. I don't know. But I'm not one with words. You guys know this. Yeah, I don't know enough actors' names. That's the thing. I know a lot of famous actors, but most of them are like middle aged, and obviously they can't play Link. Yeah, so I wish I could answer that question, but to be honest, I still think if there was a Zelda movie or personally I would lean towards an animated series like Disney Plus is doing. I think that would be a much better way to turn video games into a story. Because if you think about it, I feel like it would be very rushed trying to force like the story of Ocarina of Time into a single movie. If anything, it would have to be like a 3 hour long movie like Lord of the Rings, or a series of three movies. But a series of three movies feels like too much for Ocarina of Time. Maybe that's just me. But if we were converting it to a movie, it would have to take a lot of creative liberties. Because with Ocarina of Time, most of the with Zelda, it's there's a lot of dungeons you have to go through, and sometimes that at before and after each dungeon is where some critical story pieces take place. So if we don't want to have to completely rewrite parts of the story, to accommodate getting rid of the dungeons, what you could do is you could just have an animated series where they kind of go through. Yeah, sorry, what was my train of thought? An animated series, so where it's more of an episodic type thing, where in this episode he kind of goes through a water dungeon, and it shouldn't be like too linear, where it's like okay, we should like I think do think there should be some kind of reinterpretation of events. But yeah, I still think an animated series would be best, especially for the story of the Hero of Time. Maybe Skyward Sword could fit into a movie, but to tell some of like the dungeon stuff where he goes into the Earth Temple to find Zelda, a lot of stuff he's chasing after Zelda goes into a temple, like the Earth Temple where Zelda was like bound and chained up there, and Impa comes and breaks her free. You can't just completely omit the dungeons because a lot of them play a big role, but you would have to reinterpret the layouts entirely because the video game sometimes there's just pits that fall into nothingness, which makes zero sense in the real world. So they would have to change up a lot of the structures, or maybe even get rid of all of the puzzle mechanics entirely and just make it seem like a big old holy place, or just like a normal or a sacred type of building or place of special significance, but seem fairly realistic. Maybe there would be a boss or some kind of guardian in the story that Link would have to fight in the episode, something like that, or maybe just like a couple puzzles, but not to the extent that there are in the games, if that makes any sense. Because you don't want to have a movie character do everything you have to do in a video game. That just doesn't make it would not be good TV. So animated series, I think, is definitely the way to go if you ever get something official with Zelda. So I've actually considered writing a screenplay, or not like a play, but just writing a script and like how the story of an animated Majora's Mask series would go. I still kind of want to do it, but man, it would be way too time consuming for something I'm never going to be able to pull off. If I was an animator, maybe. Oh man, well, holy crap, I fell way behind. Chris Pratt, Chris Pratt is Link. I don't think I love Chris Pratt, but no, sorry, Oni. Nope. Yeah, take an unknown actor for the role. Yeah, like I said, I still don't think it should. It would. I don't think Zelda would work as good live action. Animated would be the best way to go. Look at Rowan Link's, Major Link's animations, or even the Terrible Fate animation. There's so many good Zelda animations that are high quality and could convey the fantasy world of Hyrule much better than than a live action CGI could portray it. So I just feel like would get way too cheesy having a live action uh, Zelda. So if they made a new Zelda game that took place in New Hyrule, do you think a hybrid style of Toon Link and Breath of the Wild might work? Like if you blended the two appearances. Um, I have mixed feelings about that. I'm not that big a fan of the Toon style, to be honest. For the DS games, it makes sense because I mean the DS obviously didn't have much graphics capabilities. And even here where we're upsampling it a little bit, it's still not my favorite. But it does match the appeal. But I I still fail to understand why they switched to and for Wind Waker switched to the Toon aesthetics. I'm not a hater for it, but I just think like Twilight Princess looks so much better. I'm more of a fan of the realistic graphics than the Toon, but I think Breath of the Wild strikes a good balance of the fantasy world where it's not like hyper realistic, but it still has like fairly real looking scenery, but also blended with kind of like a cartoon or fantasy world. So it's really difficult to say. It depends on how toony it is, but I wouldn't really prefer if Breath of the Wild got any more toony than it already is. Because if it leaned towards Skyward, I feel like Skyward Sword is almost a kind of more like a kind of cartoony version. Let's see here. Um. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see your extension to the question here. So realistic body proportions, but toon face. No, sorry, Kim. No, I would not be a fan of that. Oh, Greg, have you seen my what's it called? Cloak of Shadows conceptualizing video? That's a video I'm going to try to revisit. I'm gonna try to come up with like an actual detailed storyline because the first video I made like last May was just coming up an idea like how the game what I would want in the out of the gameplay, kind of like an overall gist of how the story would go. But I would kind of what I'm thinking is it would be basically 10,000 years before Breath of the Wild, so that link, and I would have the Sheikah have like all that's in the prime of the Sheikah technology where they use that technology to beat Calamity Ganon for the first time. But I would actually have it kind of be like a dystopian, almost a Orwell's 1984. So the Sheikah have this technology, but we know that shortly after that, the Hyrule began to fear the Sheikah for their technology and banished them, which didn't make much sense because the Sheikah's technology is how they defeated something far scarier than themselves. So what I would have in the story is that the Yiga was actually already existing before the Sheikah got banished, and that they were actually like this dystopian, like almost Illuminati figure that they were acting in the shadows without most of the Sheikah even being aware of what's going on. So the Sheikah using with all their astronomy stuff, but then there's like the Yiga, and they have like their own secret like cult or something going on, like or have a secret base within the Sheikah laboratories and such. So there's some of the Sheikah that are Yiga already, and they would actually be like spying and developing, and then eventually the Hyrule would discover this and find out like learn what they're planning on, what their true intentions are, and that's why they would not trust the Sheikah because the Sheikah, because lots of the Sheikah were Yiga or part of this conspiracy. So that's what I'm going to be writing when I make another video to try to develop the story of my Cloak of Shadows video. And one thing I want to do is I've been wanting to commission Rawan Link or commission some animator to make a movie, like, animate a movie trailer for Cloak of Shadows. I feel like that would be so freaking cool. But I'd have to get voice acting, and obviously animations would take countless hours. I would have to shell out thousands of dollars to get that animated, and that's like the cheapest. It would cost me probably like $4 or $5 thousand just to have that animated, or more. I have no idea. I haven't gotten a quote. All I know is it's way too expensive for me. I have a very minimal experience with 3D modeling. I am at best an amateur at 3D modeling, and I cannot animate. So sorry guys. As much as I want that video, like, I don't think I could make. make the movie trailer, but I will eventually come out and write the story that I want for it. Do you think Zelda will be playable? I think she will be in some parts, like she was in Spirit Tracks to solve puzzles. I really hope so, but after seeing the new trailer where Zelda just gets yanked away and like, oh nope, she falls into this pit. I want her. I want to have a co-op or like a back and forth between Link and Zelda. I would love that so much, or where you get to alternate between controlling, where there's puzzles you get to solve. But with how the open world works, I just don't think that's going to be very practical for them to implement. And with the trailers, Zelda being kind of just falling down the pit, I don't think it's going to happen anymore. I really had my hopes up. Well, I mean, I'm really a pessimist for Breath of the Wild too. I'm just now realizing this, but I would love it to. But do I think it's gonna happen? Probably not. Oh, it would be so good though. Okay, let's see here. Has anyone actually found the sinking lure in Ocarina of Time? Sinking lure? That's a thing? I hardly ever did any fishing. It took me the longest time to realize there even was fishing in Ocarina of Time. But no, I wouldn't have any. I've only played through Ocarina of Time once, to be honest. My next stream, I'm doing Master Quest, so that'll be a little bit rough because I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know plenty about the lore, but in terms of like gameplay, I don't know enough about Ocarina of Time. Yes, Ember Lab could make an animated Legend of Zelda. See, like I said, I'd rather have a series than a movie. I wouldn't complain about a movie, but I think it would be a lot, the story would be able to be told in a much better way, and they wouldn't have to rush anything or or draw it out with too many movies if they were to do a series. I think they could tell it just right, and I think with especially with Majora's Mask, if they told Majora's Mask, they could make each time Link goes back in time a different episode. So every 3 day cycle would be one episode. Man, dude, I need a Majora's Mask. I don't care if it ends up being horrible. But I need a Majora's Mask animated series in my life where he goes through and just interacts with all the people. I will cry. I guarantee you, I will cry if they ever make a Majora's Mask animated series. I would quit my engineering career just to go in and be like a director or like a writer, like a screenwriter for that Majora's Mask series. How long do I think I'll stream for? It really depends. As long I wasn't planning on doing it for any more than holy crap, it's already been an hour and a half. I wasn't planning on going any more than 2 hours because I've been talking for an hour and a half straight now. So my voice is getting a little hoarse. If you guys still have a lot of questions, I could take a break after at the 2 hour mark and maybe go for another 30, 45 minutes. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Who been Kim, thank you for the for banning the stuff in the chat. Wow. Okay, it's still showing up in the stream chat, man. That's annoying how it shows up in there. Greg, if you ever win the lottery, you're sponsoring that project, thanks. Or if my stocks get lucky, if my energy stocks spike up like 20 times what I paid for, then it has happened once, but that was when it was in a Roth IRA, so I couldn't draw it out because that's for retirement. But I now have 10,000 shares of that in a short-term investment. So if it ever spikes up, oh, I'm gonna make a lot of money. So who knows? It would be kind of foolish for me to spend that all on a single YouTube video, especially if the YouTube video doesn't make me much money back. It'd be kind of a terrible investment, but it would make my heart happy. Uh-oh, but it would be cool if you could only play Zelda in the underworld. Well, yeah, if there is an underworld in Breath of the Wild 2, then heck yeah. Put user in timeout. There we go. Mods, I don't know if you can if you knew about like the whole timeout feature, but you can like it's like a soft ban. I don't for some reason I don't see like an actual ban thing, but there's a hide from channel, but there's also like bans. I've never had to ban anyone on YouTube before, or at least I haven't seen the need to, because YouTube usually if there's something super severe, YouTube automatically filters that out in terms of comments. But these live chats, I have no idea. It's okay. It's okay, Kim. Oni took care of it, it looks like. The Lion King. Nice. Let's see. Yeah, and so the thing is, everyone thinks that a lot of people think that the Triforce is in Breath of the Wild, like Zelda's sealing power is the full Triforce. That's not, at least if the rest of the series actually happened, that's not how the full Triforce works. So, I mean, maybe they could retcon it. They could come up with some explanation if that ends up being the full Triforce. But because I have my Force series, and I overall I think that is Hylia's light force, which is kind of referenced, or Hylia's power from like Skyward Sword. She has her own power outside of the Triforce as a goddess. Even when she reincarnates into a mortal form, she still has her own sacred form of power, which is like, and in Minish Cap, it's called the Light Force. Uh, so you guys can check out those videos on my I have like the playlist if you guys want to watch all of them. But uh, yeah, I don't think the Triforce that we see on Zelda's hand is the actual Triforce, because sometimes we in some timelines we see it when whether they are worthy. In fact, my collaboration with Pixel Fusion, I don't remember if this was the video on my channel or the one on his. I think the one on mine was more about Hylia's playing in Skyward Sword, but on I think on Pixel Fusions we did talked about Triforce, his theory of Triforce pairing, which is interesting. It was an interesting idea. I definitely don't think it's necessarily canon, but it's a really cool concept. I think, and it's a pretty brilliant. And I think there's some truth behind it, at least, because we do see the marks on their hands with in some cases when we know that they don't have the actual Triforce. So I think with Zelda, it just means like she's now capable of wielding the full Triforce. Because what's an example? Um, actually Zelda 2 comes to mind. The Link from Zelda 2, he has the mark for other reasons mentioned in like the manuals and such. Like there's a Kurt, or it's not a the king supposedly puts some spell so anyone worthy of wielding the Triforce would have the mark appear on the back of their hand. So that's kind of for a different reason, and it's the second Zelda game ever made, so it's not really good evidence. But let's go to the ocean. I'm trying to think if there's some other examples here. We talked about a couple more in the videos, but it's hard to. That's why we have scripts and do a lot of research before we make videos, because it takes a lot to just draw everything off, because there's a lot of Zelda games. It takes a lot to draw all this from the top of our heads. Man, why is the bot still here? That's crazy. Man, hey. But hey guys, it must mean I'm a real YouTuber now because a bot deems I have enough viewers to be worth invading on, right? That's how bots work. I'm a big enough YouTuber that it deems me worthy of trying to mess with. Yeah, I don't know why it's still showing up to begin with, but I put them in timeout. They shouldn't be able to post anything anymore, but hmm. Oh, why were they unhidden? Kim, they were unhidden for some reason. Kim, did you unhide them? Okay, I just rehid them, so don't unhide them, mods, please. Okay. Okay, HD Gamer asks, my question for you is why do I not like the Toon art style? I don't know. Because I know it's a Nintendo franchise and all, and like Zelda shouldn't be taken all that seriously, but I do like to have at least some seriousness to it, which I don't think. Yeah, the Toon style just kind of takes a lot of that away, in my opinion. I really love the Twilight Princess art style the most, but I think Breath of the Wilds is a really good compromise for both who like the Toon style and the more realistic one. So I'd be fine if all of these Zelda games stayed in Breath of the Wild's art style. It's not my favorite one, but I think it's a great compromise for the series. Which 2D Zelda game is my fave? Oh, okay. So Jessica, I think I went over this question before you joined the chat, but if you count Spirit Tracks as a 2D game, then Spirit Tracks is my favorite 2D. But if not, then I will say Minish Cap is a good second. Yeah, so the Triforce. So Grace says the Triforce on Breath Wild Zelda's hand is more of a symbol of divinity to represent her divine power. Yeah, kind of. Like there's a reason like Zelda usually ends up with a piece of the Triforce. Like that was Hylia's plan after all, is so ensuring she could at least we always wield part of the Triforce, and then her hero would have another one. Like that's what my video with Pixel Fusion on my channel. So the Hylia's genius plan. It's because she knew like essentially that she would never be able to wield the full Triforce. Even as a mortal, you can't. She wasn't going to be able to ensure that she would always be able to have the full Triforce. So what she did is she would always make sure that her descendants, or those with her blood, because she was a goddess, would get at least one piece, which would usually end up being wisdom. And then her hero would always be would she had to create someone with an unbreakable spirit, and that have that spirit reincarnate, so that she could so that there could always be essentially a 2v1 against Demise's reincarnations. Anyways, let's see. Yeah, with Breath of the Wild Zelda, let's see the Triforce on her hand. Like, I have talked about like my theory on it, but like I said, it's been a long time since I've even kind of gone into Breath of the Wild. I don't want to like kind of trying to re-explain my theory when I actually don't even remember what it fully was to begin with, which is kind of embarrassing. But I'd have to look into it again, so I'm not really gonna take too much of a stance on Breath of the Wild, like why that's there, because I don't want to go around like saying things without when I know I've forgotten stuff without doing more researching the topic. I hope that makes sense. Only real YouTubers get bots on their channel. And bots are them intimidated. Yep. Okay. Hey Kim, that means you're a real streamer. Kim, you actually got a lot more viewers on your streams than I do on my Twitch. So hey, I think that means something, Kim. Do you think dying armor should be added in all future Zelda games or just stay in Breath of the Wild? I think it's good to have customizable armor. I think that's a really good concept. Um, I've never been a fan, like especially in the older games where you like reforge or upgrade the Master Sword. I despise that mechanic where they changed the where just like normal or other blacksmiths would reforge the Master Sword. That doesn't make any sense to me. Or they would or it would temporarily change color and then go away again over time. I never liked that. Never made any sense to me, at least in terms of like a timeline, which Nintendo obviously didn't keep that in mind. Uh, let's see. But dyeing armor, I think dyeing armor is a good mechanic. It's a fun way for players to be able to customize their character and express themselves a little bit. Uh, I do like I said, I think there should be. I think I would like there to be better kinds, a better mechanic system with armor. Because if you were to get a set, for example, you would be fully immune to the cold. So at that point, stopped making potions or making food that made me heat resistant or cold resistant. Because eventually you could just buy the armor, and you would never need those kinds of effects from food ever again. Because you could just put on the full set and you're good to go. Put a feather on your head, wear some shorts made out of a Rito's corpse or something, and then you are immune to the coldest mountain in Hyrule. Like it made no sense to me. So yeah, like I said, I think the armor system could have some better mechanics. Like maybe have some different, a wider variety of enchantments or effects. Because honestly, Breath of the Wild's like buff system was kind of simple. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, if Oni and Kim you both tried to hide at the same time, you guys would have canceled each other out. Especially if you did it at the same time, that would take a second to show for you guys. Ooh, this is a great question. Favorite Zelda song? Ooh, ooh, there are so many options. Can I pick one? Can I make one? I've been considering making lists of my favorite or best Zelda songs, but not I can't just pick like a best Zelda song. I would have to make a video on the like top 10 best dramatic or best triumphant or best emotional or sad or cheerful songs. I could make so many videos, like so many lists of videos or lists of songs in videos with with that. So it's I can I pick out just one? Obviously, like I think almost everyone's go-to is just Gerudo Valley because it's great. Or Wind Waker has some good ones. I love the Spirit Tracks music, Skyward Sword. Like, can I pick out one song? That's a real question. Let's start with a game. Let me pick out a game. Because Skyward Sword has a lot I would love. My options would be between Skyward Sword, Ocarina's music is classic, but most of it's synthesized. But like Twilight synthesized too, but I like a lot more Twilight Princess music, especially the Zelda reorchestrated stuff. So Zelda, Twilight, Spirit Tracks. Breath of the Wild doesn't have too much stuff, to be honest. The temple theme from Zelda 2, the bum 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 ba da 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 da, like that. I love that one, especially the Smash Bros versions of it. It's really good. Mm, okay, if you guys are gonna make me pick one, I this cannot go on record or like on my what's it called, like the YouTube wiki or something. I it will not go down as my favorite one because mm, oh, God, this is so hard. This is such a difficult question. My gut right now is telling me to say the Spirit Tracks credits music. If you guys don't know what that is, look it up. It's really nostalgic for me. The Skyward Sword staff roll is also really good. Um, Here, let me just do it this way. If I want to go for like the best like emotional music or like sad or just like let's just say emotional, it would either have to be like the romance or Romance in the Sky theme from Skyward Sword. I just, that throws me way back to like middle school when I played the game. It just gives me the feels, like the romance between Link and Zelda there at the beginning of the game, their chemistry, and just that music when they're staring at each other. It's so good. Um, Spirit Tracks is very nostalgic for me, and like just a lot of the tracks in this game are just very upbeat, catchy. Like Wind Waker has a lot of like Dragon Roost Island's good, Outset Island, Windfall Island. Like there's so many good options, honestly. Twilight Princess has a lot of good triumphant music. Oh, and if you one of my favorite character themes is Ilia's theme. 'Cause I love how it's a kind of a remake of Lon Lon Ranch or like Malin's or Epona's song. Like I don't, yeah, I'm not able to pick out like one overall good song. Wait, hang on. I just realized why is my mouse showing up down here on the screen? That's not supposed to work that way. Oops. I disabled it for the top screen, so you guys can't see it here on the top screen, but you can see it on the bottom. Let me fix that. It's been almost 2 hours into the stream, and I'm just now realizing this. Shows how observant I am. Bottom screen here. Yeah, bottom. Wait, it was the bottom screen, right? Yeah, there it is. Capture cursor, gone. Okay, now you guys can't see my cursor. Sorry about that. Okay, okay. Let's see. Where was I? Okay, Kim's going. So bye, Kim. Thanks for the yeah, thanks for stopping by. Ballad of the Goddess is a really good one. I love it too. So people who say that's such a lazy way of coming up with a game's theme song, just take Zelda's lullaby, put it backward. That's so lazy. No, it's freaking genius. Do you realize like how bad like putting a track backward sounds? It's eerie. It just sounds dissonant, wrong. But the fact that they can just take the melody and like rewrite the notes, but in a backwards order, I think it's genius. Kim, Kim, I don't know about that. Sorry, you're gonna go way too technical into like the music theory side, and that's not the point of the video. I'm not gonna be talking about music theory. Sorry, Kim. If you wanted to have input, be my guest. But I'm not letting you just every time I want to pick out a song, I'm not letting you go and analyze. I'm not what's it? What's the YouTube channel called? Like is it 8-bit music theory? Maybe I'm getting the names a little bit wrong. But I do know there's a channel something like that. Uh, that's not what I'm gonna be doing. Mine's just gonna be like a casual like top 5 or top 10 list. Let's see. Stone Tower is a really good dungeon theme too. I love that one. Okay, Oni asks, what's my favorite Zelda weapon, not including the Master Sword? Hmm. Well, the one I always had most fun with is just a bow. Any Zelda game or almost any video game, period. I love shooting bows. I love doing it in real life too. Um, but that's not really too fun of an answer though. But the Force Sword, I really like in Minish Cap where you can just like split into four and just beat the living heck out of body. Just like there's now four links just ganging up on one villain. Oh, I don't know. It's satisfying. I thoroughly enjoy using the Force Sword, or not even necessarily for body, but too. But if you just in other cases where you can split into four and you're trying to do something and an enemy comes at you, you have like four links just swinging all at once at him. Oh, hey, Lonk, what's up? The music for Breath of the Wild 3 trailer is really good. That's true. The dun 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 dun. Yeah, that it did make it into Smash. It's iconic. I think even Rosen did a cover of that as well. Skyward Sword Zelda looks like a deer, but in human form. Hey, I love Skyward Sword Zelda. I think she's cute. I like her. Um, you know what, guys? I think I need to make my favorite Zelda girls. I make a make a video where I list out my favorite Zelda girls. We all know Malin is gonna be like f 3, 4, like 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 on a list of the top 10, with everyone else being like 6 through 10. But like Malin is all 5 of my top spots. But yeah, I think Skyward Sword Zelda would be up there on the list. Ilia would be up there on the list, even though most people hate Ilia. Ilia would be there up there for me. Um, Twilight Princess Zelda is a little too serious. I mean, I think she's hot. Don't get me wrong. I love her character design, but I mean, so is Breath of the Wild Zelda. We all know just like thick, but honestly, she does have good character or a decent character growth, I guess. But I'm still not that big a fan of Breath of the Wild Zelda. Yeah, Zelda has really good music. Honestly, for those that watch my Tragedy of Time video, the Xenoblade games have have such good tracks. Because it's like a full, it's not open world technically, but each like region is so large it almost feels like an independent open world, like 8 different open worlds essentially. And a lot of the music in that game, it's what I wish Breath of the Wild's soundtrack was like. Cause I don't know how many of you guys have played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but like one of the opening titans you go on or the landscapes is just Gormott. And when you get out there, just it's blue, like green grassy fields everywhere, mountains, and like the music's just blasting. It is it's just glorious. And you're just running out into this huge open area with all these animals and such. It's and the music makes you want to explore, and you're like, wow, this is really something. Whereas Breath of the Wild, it's just very, very subtle piano music, and it's so calm, peaceful. But in Xenoblade, it's like, yes, it's a time for adventure, which I think that's more what Zelda's about, is the concept of adventure, and that's what Miyamoto, yeah, was it Miyamoto? Yeah, Miyamoto, when he first came up with Zelda, like the whole concept was based on him going around as a kid and exploring caves and stuff in Japan. Let's see here. Oh, the song "Feeling Backwards" is the best song for the Ben Drown creepypasta. That is true. I did use that in my second video when I edited the second video on my channel, the one my friend recorded. Yeah, I did use the song of Feeling Backwards on that one. It's a good eerie feel. I consider doing that for Halloween, but it's there's so many good Ben Drown videos out there. I can't top it. I don't see a point in me making a Ben Drown video just because I don't know as much as some of these other people who have put so much research into it. I I can't even compete with it, and I'm not like I don't even feel comfortable enough trying at that point. So I'm holding the sneeze right now. My throat's actually getting a little hoarse too. Let's see here. Got the Master Cycle. It's time to get the Master Cycle 1. Wait, the Master Cycle 1. Is there a second Master Cycle in Breath of the Wild? I only got the Master Cycle 0. Is there a Master Cycle 1, or are you guys just messing with me? Is this just a joke? Because I know in Mario Kart there's two Hyrule bikes. Okay, surely this is just a joke, right? Random stuff. I would not complain to having a magic meter. I think a magic meter would actually really help because if you had like specific types of armor on in Breath of the Wild 2, that could support that mechanic those extra mechanics I was talking about earlier, how I feel like there needs to be different kinds of armor sets, how like, oh, you just have resistance to the cold and now you never need to use your cold resistant potions again. Because I didn't like that how it's like okay where once you get an item it completely negates the mechanic for the rest of the game. It's a little too much for me, or a little too OP, or it makes the game too easy, essentially. Because at the beginning, that's a huge problem, but once you get once you make it to Rito Town and have just a small amount of rupees, it's no longer a problem. So, I think with a magic meter, it would allow a lot more mechanics. Oh, hope you're doing okay there, Loink. Waifu tier list when? Is that something you guys would? Is that actually a video? Because I was kind of I was half joking about that. Feel like it'd be a really funny video to do. I would be kind of embarrassed to post something like that on YouTube, but hey, it would be funny, and I would have honestly have fun making it. And if it's something people would love actually like to watch, then I won't be opposed to watching that. I can post a poll shortly after. I'll post a poll sometime soon and see if that's actually something people would want to see. TP Zelda is an actual queen. We're unworthy of her attention. Yeah, I don't like how she's called Princess Zelda in because she is Queen Zelda in that game. Hear her joke. Oh. My best memory as a kid was when Zelda had their first game. So when Zelda had their first game, and I played with my mother watching and Dragon Search for Secrets. Oh yeah, before the internet was the thing, yeah, because there's just random trees you could have. There's no hint to burn down, but if you do it on just the exact tree in that right spot, there's like there's the moblin or something that gives you 50 or 100 rupees, and says it's a secret to everyone. Yeah, I feel like nowadays where there's like walkthroughs and every single secret in Zelda is possibly exploited, and now you can basically even reprogram the game, you using certain inputs to completely cheat through the game. It's crazy how much people are able to exploit that old code. So we are now 2 hours into the stream, so which is initially when I was planning on being done. So plus I'm kind of exhausted because I had no sleep. But if you guys want to ask like one last round of questions, be my guest. Who had to birth the watch to become Queen Zelda 2. Yeah, she technically is already queen through. She hasn't had a official coronation ceremony, for obvious reasons, because like, there's no one in Castletown alive. But she technically is queen, because King's been dead, and she's still alive now. So, uh, bruh, bruh, that's bad. That's really bad. Loink, are you trying to have me do the magic conch shell response for the SpongeBob like that? Maybe someday, and then you just go like, ooh. Yeah, bruh, that's a little too far, bruh. Okay, Jessica asks, what item would I ban forever? Ooh, ooh, that's a really good question. What is an item I despise? Oh, I remember not liking something from Wind Waker. Maybe it's just the mechanics I didn't like from Wind Waker. Man, well, sorry, I'm still here in the menu of Spirit Track. I see. I can't even focus on playing a game and answering these questions, but I'm just gonna drive around in the train, and if I die, I die. There's boats attacking me. So what item would I remove? Um, it's been a long time since I played Wind Waker. I remember there's something from Wind Waker I did not like. Hmm. Actually, the Oracle. I see. I've never played the Oracle games all the way through, but I'd have to go with the Oracle games. How there's like the with the Triceratops, the kangaroo. They're technically items in the game. Like they're just so weird. Like it's Ricky. The names are Ricky something. I think Ricky's the kangaroo. There's a Triceratops and some other animal. But yeah, I think those are just weird. Like why was Capcom thinking? Well, why did they put that into the game? But yeah, that's I would remove them. I just think that's weird. I know a lot of people think it's interesting and like it, but not me. Not me. Okay. Which character from Breath of the Wild would I like to see in the sequel? Hmm. Like just any character that appears in like the game, like an NPC or like an actual story character, like one of the champions or like a Sheikah. Um, I would love to see Mifa especially, or the champions like Daruk. I would just love to see the champions in general make appearance as ghosts or something. Which with the whole concept of like the spirit or green magic stuff, like the spirits appear to be in Breath of the Wild, I honestly wouldn't say it's that far out there. But if those champions can't make an appearance because they, after all, they are dead, I would understand why they wouldn't. Um, I would say either Pura, or is it Pura? Pura or Robbie? Pura and Robbie. Like, I think I loved Robbie in Age of Calamity so much. His little Michael Jackson, the hee hee from Age of Calamity. It's so good. I love Robbie's character in Age of Calamity. I can't. I know he's old. He's a really old dude in Breath of the Wild, but I like his character a lot. So let's go with Robbie. Yes, Oni. Thank you, Wind Waker. The item I would remove from Wind Waker is the Tingle Tuner. Thank you. I knew it wasn't like a necessary story item, but I knew there was like something like I despise Tingle. I hate his character in every game with a burning passion, especially in Wind Waker. Let's it's toward the end of the stream. Don't get me rambling about it. I'm already getting triggered. I'm talking super fast now. Tingle Tuner, that's gone. I'm so glad that that wasn't in Wind Waker HD. Well, I haven't played Wind Waker HD, but I heard it's not in there, and thank God. Okay, so it looks like that's all the questions for now. I'll give you guys like a minute if there's any more questions you want to ask. I'll take a couple more. But otherwise, yeah, thank you guys for watching. It's been really cool to it's man, it's I can't believe I started this channel 2 years ago. It's crazy. Like I only did since the last anniversary, I did the collaboration with Pixel Fusion. I think that was in late July or mid-July, something like that. So that's one video. And then it was the Zelda Phobian, and then Tragedy of Time. So yeah, I've only made 3 videos in the last year. I, I I'm I'm gonna try to beat that before I start school again this August. I'm gonna try to get at least 3 more videos out by then. I already have one almost. I one's for me writing is the hard like writing the script is by far the hardest part of making the video. So obviously I'm limited to not having like being able to use my webcam because I don't have a like studio and my green screen's like very limited. I don't have good lighting. Um, So I can't really record stuff in person as well as other YouTubers can, but that's not that big of a deal for me. But for me, like overall, script writing is the hardest part, and I already have it like a 10-page script done for another Majora's Mask video. I have work started. It should be pretty easy for me to remake the Link's Loves. I already have all pretty much all the research. I still have all the notes from the originals done and corrections written down for with new points and mistakes I made in the original ones. So it'd be pretty easy. It's just a matter of taking the time to go edit. But I don't mind the editing. That's just kind of casual work. I can do that. I'm always on my computer at home, so I can do that pretty much anytime. It's just a matter of focusing on writing that's my struggle. So I already have one script all the way done. I'm going to be working on a collaboration with Bread Pirate, hopefully sometime this summer, getting that out to you guys. So that's already two. Hopefully something with another Zelda podcast. That might take a long time to come out, depending on when we actually record and when uh, that episode would actually be released on the podcast when we're planning it. But yeah, I'd have to come up with some more video ideas other than remaking the Link's Loves. I already talked about the Cloak of Shadow stuff. There's a lot of things going on there. Loink says, when you're feeling down, just remember that at least you didn't get replaced by an item that can no longer ever be used again, like in the Tinkle Tournament. Okay, but yes, guys, I will definitely be producing more content this year than I did this last year, for sure. Uh, I feel really bad about being that inactive, but hey, also with inflation going up and stuff getting crazy expensive, I'm gonna need to grow my channel more and become more active because I also need to get more YouTube income too. It's like making videos takes a lot of time, especially like with the scripted stuff. If it was just gameplay stuff, I guarantee you I would not. I'm not that entertaining of a person, so I wouldn't make much money from that if that's what my content was. And even if it was, um, I just don't feel like I could make that much money from it because that would be easier in terms of like producing content. Editing would probably be a little bit more difficult, but still. Um, but editing is a lot harder to is a bit difficult with this because I don't have any like raw main footage. I have to just take a ton of clips from the games and slap it together to match what I'm talking about. And I have to write script literally every word I'm gonna say in the video and do the research if it's a theory too because you don't want to it's a lot more work than people would expect. It's a lot more work than I expected when I first became a YouTuber. But yeah, I definitely need to build up that YouTube income to help supplement my living expenses. Because I have my school expenses paid for, and most of my living stuff, but I still have a lot of other expenses that aren't paid for, and I definitely could afford to make some more videos, have fun with it, and get that YouTube income up. Because I was very fortunate. I'm still am very fortunate that I still have an income after not posting stuff. Because some people once they stop, they don't get many active views. But I have a couple stuff like the Link's Loves for Skyward Sword, Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, then the Breath of the Wild video, and then the Majora and Fierce Deity. Those three videos have single-handedly given me like a small passive income while I've been inactive for this last year. Whereas most people, they don't have that. It's either they have to keep producing content to keep making money. And some people, they had to produce content for like a couple years before they even started making money. I was super lucky to after just like less than 6 months, just all of us have one video that took me and got me monetized. So I'm very fortunate with that. So I shouldn't be talking too much about the money there, but stuff's expensive now, man. Stuff's really expensive. I think YouTube is literally the reason I haven't gone to get a part-time job while in school again. So great, yeah, dude. Yeah, I feel like especially in that time, I feel like it's a really difficult time for people to be keeping up with YouTube or any kind of creative content. So Oni, last question is, when am I gonna stream again? Well, because I've told you guys I've been going down to Texas every weekend to visit family and such because I'm in Oklahoma for my internship. So I haven't really been able to stream because my PC's up here in Oklahoma and it's too big of a pain to bring it down every weekend and stream down there. And Oni, I don't think you'd be able to, if I were to stream on weekday evenings, it would be way too late at night for you to really watch it. So I haven't really been doing that. I could technically could do it maybe this. No, I can't do it Sunday because I have family coming up for the Independence Day here in the States. So I can't really do Sunday, unfortunately, and I'm going back down to Texas. It really depends. I could do it Saturday, but we have a we're going to be having our Zeldom Mobility maybe game night, but also writing another Zelda Phobian because it's been forever since we've done that in the perk. Oh, Jessica, thank you for the donation. Much appreciated. Ooh, it's in euros too. Ooh, we got another European viewer. Nice. Oh, Wolf Knight asks, do you think Nintendo might take inspiration from a YouTube Zelda fan film called Legend of Link by Obsession Studios? I have not seen this fan film. Legend of Link is what you said? I have not seen it, so I can't really respond to that. Uh, Nintendo actually does, at least they claim to take a lot of response and feedback from their viewers, which is why they made a lot of changes. And like for example, Majora's Mask 3D, they did respond to a lot of fans' complaints about like the mechanics of the game, which is why they made a lot of the changes they did in Majora's Mask 3D. So they do listen to their fans, but they don't let the fans like write their content for them essentially. So they're still gonna make the same like lore or like mechanics decisions that they usually would make without it. Oh yeah, Loink. We do have the honey cannon. Loink, you were I'm pretty sure you were watching the Spirit Track streams. This is the save file from last summer. So when we got the honey cannon. We didn't have enough stuff to get the last I think that it was the cake car. But yes, we have the ooh, Belgium. Nice. Zoni, you from Netherlands? I got European viewers from all over. I got one from Germany, France, Belgium, Netherlands. It's so cool. The honey cannon deserves their praises. All right, but anyways, we're 15 minutes over 20 hours. Yeah, and Greg, you're from Canada. Man, I feel like at least okay, I see know what my YouTube analytics say, but on terms of like the active community, like on the people who participate in streams and such, I feel like at least half of you guys are international, like are outside of the United States. Which it's almost Independence Day, 'cause screw Britain, right? Or screw the UK. Gotta have the American flag, Zeldom shirt. Ah. Ooh, and we gotta have an Italian here. Dang, that's awesome. But yeah, it's overtime, so I'm gonna go ahead and close out the stream. Thank you guys for participating in this with me. It's actually been a lot of fun. I can't. These 2 hours went by so fast. I was not expecting it to go by that fast. It felt like it went by even faster than when I'm playing the game. Even though most of the time I've kind of just been letting Link stand around here and just been walking around because I can't fight and read comments at the same time and think about what my reply is going to be. Yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching, and my goal is to have another video out by next weekend. Actually, not, is it this weekend? Yeah, because it's Wednesday right now. I don't know if I'll be able to get the editing done by Sunday, but it'll be up soon. Next Wednesday at the latest. That's gonna be my goal to you guys. It's next Wednesday at the latest. So July 6th, I think so. Early beginning of July, or early July, I'll try to have my next Majora's Mask video out for you guys. So more content on the way, and after that, I'm gonna immediately start the process of writing more video scripts because I've been enjoying getting back into the community, interacting with you guys again. So thank you guys for watching. Take care.